Hey guys, what's going on? Branton here. So I'm in the fish room today. I just want to give a quick review of a pump that Hygger had actually sent me. Um, I'd been working with them for a while on something that they could send me when they reached out. Uh, the list they sent me at first, there wasn't really anything on there that was a use case scenario. Um, So after some back and forth, as you guys know, I had just set up this little fish room of mine, and I needed a pump that could, power, if not all, a lot of these tanks. So we worked something out where they sent me a pump, and this pump is going to be the Hygger high efficiency AC/DC air pump. It's the larger model, so it's the 18 watt. Um, it's actually so far, so I've had it set up and running for about 3 weeks now. I didn't want to do this review right away just because uh, if it was gonna if it was gonna fail after one night, then I didn't want to go through the time of making this video. But yeah, I mean, so far so good. It's running great. Let me switch this camera around and I'll show you the pump. So yeah, here's the pump here. Um, I got it set on 8. There's 9 different settings. So this is you can change the settings here with the plus and minus. So 7, 6, 5. And I don't know if you guys can hear that volume, but it's real quiet on one. And, obviously the higher you go, the, a little bit more sound it's going to make. But I found 8 to be, uh, my sweet spot. But yeah, I mean, so this pump, I have it right here. So it's split. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on each side. So that'd be 18. So I've got this pump split 18 ways. And it's powering all these tanks. So I've got this breeder box that's running. It's got 2 sponges actually in this tank. It's got an air stone and a sponge in this tank. It's got 1 sponge in this tank, another sponge in this tank. We got a sponge in here, a sponge in here. I've got 2 sponges in this one. And then down here, it's running the sponge in this tank. We got a sponge in that tank. This one actually doesn't have any air, this tank here. But then we got a sponge in this tank. We got a sponge in this tank. And then a sponge in that tank. So I've got these buckets here too with air. These are just kind of, holding snails, extra plants, and some fish eggs, random fish that are spawning. This one's got luminatus eggs in it. This one has nothing in it yet, just kind of, on standby. But like I said, so far, so good. This pump came with, what was it, like I think it was a 6 or an 8-way adapter. And I wanted to kind of push this thing to its limit and see how it would do. So yeah, I split it. I split it 18 ways, and I've got them all running, and it's keeping up just fine. So far, I'm actually really impressed with this thing. It's not overly loud. I mean, if you get right up next to it, you can hear it, but it's not overpowering. It's I was able to replace. So I had like a lot of individual pumps set up. So right here was basically just full of pumps, and then on this side over here was just full of pumps running the air to these. What I got: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 6 on the bottom, so 13 tanks. Um, and yeah, to be able to replace it with just the one pump is really sweet. So yeah, I mean, so far so good. Um, this adapter didn't really fit on this hose that it came with. It definitely took some maneuvering. I had to heat up the hose quite a bit. This fitting here was quite a bit bigger than the actual hose itself that connects to here. So, but I got it on there. This right here is the check valve. I actually, when I first plugged this thing in, I had it backwards, and I was like, "Oh man, this thing's not even working." But I was like, "Okay, let me see." I switched the hose around and see if it starts pumping air, and it did. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've got no complaints about this pump so far. Um, well, you know what? There might be one thing. Let me test this out. So I've been wanting to test this out, and I've been wanting to do it on video. I wanted to see. So this is an AC DC pump, right? So you can turn it off. How to do this, sir? Okay. So off and on, it's plugged in. Now when it unplugs, so I'm going to unplug it. Oh, I can't do it one handed. All right, so it's unplugged and it switches to DC, so that's cool. I was unsure before this if it actually switched it by itself. So then you can turn it completely off. Awesome. So I do like that. I was unsure if it was just going to switch automatically by itself. Let's see if we plug it in and if it'll switch back. So yeah, it switched back to AC. So when power is not directly ran to this pump, it will switch over to DC power, which is cool. I haven't time tested this thing just because I honestly haven't had the time. I'm a busy individual, but so maybe I'll do a long term review. I'll do some more tests on it, and we'll kind of see how it does when I unplug it, how long it'll last. But it does come with quite a bit of equipment, so you get, I'm using some of the air hosing that came with it. They're actually pretty long sections of air hosing, and then you got, let's see, so like over here, these are the air stones that come with it. They're like these big, chonky air stones. I mean, they're they're a lot bigger than a normal air stone. Um, see, I've actually got one running in this tank over here. Let me pop the light on. So yeah, there's one right there running. I mean, good airflow. So yeah, my main test was to see how much air this thing could push, and I have to say this thing can push some air. I mean, like I said, split 18 ways. It's powering this whole rack here, and yeah, I couldn't, as far as now, I couldn't be happier with this pump. So I appreciate everybody watching. And if you're in the market for a nice little pump that might save you during a power outage, I guess pick one of these up. They're not overly expensive. I mean, they're not bad. I think the base model is, honestly, I don't know. I'd have to check. 1 second. So yeah, these pumps, if you get the smaller model, it's $57, and if you get the model that I have, it's $76. So very cost effective. I mean, it's not going to break the bank. Um, but yeah, so very impressed so far. Very impressed. I actually noticed that when I started these filters up on the sponge filters, that they actually clog really fast, and I'm guessing that's because they were putting out a lot more air um, than the individual pumps were putting out, which I don't mind because cleaning a sponge is easy. It takes 5 minutes, not bad. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming by and watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.